Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I hope you all are doing great. Yet again, we are online, and for this week, we'll be doing our online lectures. So let's start. The course code is Mcom 401, Radio Production, Radio Broadcasting. So today, we'll touch the news elements of news in radio broadcasting. Because everything I told you that has been started on broadcast media like television and what we are seeing on social media, it actually came from radio. All these experiments were done on radio. So let's start. I hope you can see this PowerPoint presentation on your screens. So let me load it. Okay. So news values and elements remain the same. The way we practice them on conventional media, broadcast media like television and newspaper, same is the way we gather news for a radio. But as long as you know, radio is an audio medium, and for that you have to take care of many things. But let's look into the news element. So whenever you are covering some incident for radio, you have to look into the consequence of that incident, that what consequence it will bring. So what is the importance of that incident, any event, any statement from the person today, like OIC is going on, and you know it has many dignitaries who are participating in that foreign ministers conference of Islamic countries. So whatever is happening there, that is important. So they are capable enough to affect a larger number of people in future. So all these activities carries a lot of consequence. So the incident, as a matter of fact, at the time of its taking place may not be that important, but in future may acquire a great deal of significance in terms of affecting people in one way or another. So so consequence, there may be a statement of any personality who enjoys the authority and power of policy making in a state or society, and he or she makes a policy statement that concerns with the coming days of people. And the great example is OIC, what is happening today, because there are a lot of important people who are attending that conference. And apart from that, there are people from Pakistani government, Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Prime Minister of Pakistan, and dignitaries from China as well. So there is an example, but I have given you enough examples of consequence. Then there are certain news stories which, though do not pose any of the news value mentioned, but they still find place in newspaper, radio, television bulletins. In any way, they are news stories. Migratory birds flying from extreme cold region to warm ones, covering thousands and thousands of miles, make news. That is a basically soft story. A dog saving his master from being robbed makes a news. That is also an interesting element in it. Anniversaries of different people like Quaid-e-Azam, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Allama Iqbal, etc., etc. So special days are covered as news today. There are a lot of news elements you can find in OIC conference, but it's a special day, observance of 14th of August, 23rd March, which is around the corner, 6th September, then 7th September, then 1st May as a Labor Day, 5th Jan as a Kashmir Solidarity Day. So these are the days. 14 Fab, ZF Valentine's Day, you must be knowing about these things. Some of the basic elements. So while dealing with the news, two stages we have covered so far. First, to see what we call news and what actually is news. Secondly, to understand those features that convert an ordinary event into the statement and opinion. So these are some of the basic news values. This is basically a recap whatever you have done in previous courses. The same technique you will apply to cover any news item in radio as well. Accuracy is the single most important thing, and that is the hallmark of radio journalism, television journalism, online journalism, and print journalism. So you should be very careful that whatever you are reporting, it should be accurate, no matter whether you are working for radio. Nothing gives you this leverage to be inaccurate in your news stories. Meaningful, it should have some kind of meaningful value in it. Interesting, it should actually grasp the interest of the people. It could be current events, it could be interest of general public. Factual, all the news stories are based on facts. They are objective, they are not subjective. You do not add your own opinion into it. Conciseness and clarity are two important elements. You cannot go on writing and speaking in your news packages and in your news story. It should be concise and clear, comprehensive, and cohesiveness. So in a way, your story, these four elements, concise, clarity, comprehensiveness, and cohesiveness, they basically deals with coming to the point and not adding extra detail into your story that make your stories boring, and it takes a lot of time of your viewers and readers or your listeners. So when we say the news item must be accurate, we actually mean that whatever we are required to produce a news, or whatever are being given in the name of news or believe in it, must be correct in every crumb of its detail. The names of the people giving the news must be correct. Names of the places given in the news must be accurate. And ages of the people, if required to be given, the news must be given in with the precision. So the days, dates, and time of the incident or speech or accident being treated and reported as news must be accurate. Language must be correct in terms of pronunciation, vocabulary, structure, and grammar. Then statements of people must be accurate. Meaningfulness, what does that mean? So the news should be meaningful and must make any sense. It also implies that it must carry any one or some of them or all of the news values we have gone through in previous courses and we are going through in this PowerPoint presentation. So interesting, the news story, especially to be broadcast on radio, must be written and presented in such a way that the listener may not get bored. It is quite a difficult task to be managed when it comes to writing and presenting news bulletins, since news is something that can never drift away from the principle of accuracy and objectivity, but still, it should be interesting. So what we actually mean by making news bulletin interesting is that being affected in the tone and style must be avoided by the newscaster, and spoken language is to be employed while writing the lines of any news item. So it is very important when we are covering news stories for radio. Your language should be spoken language, everyday language. If you are using literary language or you're using language that we use in newspaper, that won't work for radio. So the news stories must be based on the incident or statements which has actually taken place. So in this era of media where the choice available to the listener is wide and universal, news on one channel can easily and instantly be verified on other channels. And with the advent of social media, now you can confirm and reconfirm news stories, whether they are true or not. So being factual is the single most important thing for a journalist and for a channel as well. So taking risk of putting on air something fabricated or connotated will definitely bring bad repute to the channel. So avoid doing it. So the most important elements to be cared for and taken into serious consideration while presenting news is being factual and truthful. Objectivity being beside accurate and factual, the news story needs to be to the point as well, though maybe a part of the incident should be brushed aside. But another thing that is important to be considered while making the element of objectivity certain in a news story is that it must not be given personal touch or flavor. So your personal biases should not be added in the story. So even a slight impression of personal emotion or any kind of exaggeration may engender the objectivity of bulletin. Conciseness. When it is said a news story must be concise, it means it should not be necessarily lengthy. Um, so unnecessary wording must be avoided. Uh, Verbosity always like kills the purpose, and this is brevity that is unanimously agreed upon to be the soul of it. So worldly expressions and unnecessary repetitions must be avoided. Your duty is to inform people about an event. You are not supposed to make them understand a thick and problematic matter of psychology or the reasons why crimes are getting uh, rampant in our society. So these may well be the topics of an article or feature, but cannot be touched upon in a news bulletin. So one word substitution saves the space and time, both clarity. This means that objective of news is to keep the listeners in picture of what is happening around them and in the world. So, and the purpose is achieved only if clarity is there. So make sure that your news items are clear and concise, simplified vocabulary, easy on tongue, order of the words, and correct and clear pronunciation are the key factors in radio, employing which the goal of making news clear, understandable, and may well be achieved. So comprehensiveness, if something is comprehensive, it means that it is complete by all regards and aspects. A news item is considered comprehensive only when it answers the very possible questions that may arise in the minds of listeners. As a journal principle, to make a news story comprehensive and complete, you exactly know 5 Ws and 1 H, just employ them. They actually stand for what, when, where, why, who, and how. So we have done them in previous courses. So sometimes it is certain stories, in stories, it also becomes necessary to answer another W, and that is who for. So, so this is an example. Cohesiveness, when we talk of an order, a kind of symmetry, a well-knitted, well-planned, well-organized, and even end product. We actually talk of, it means that the order of the details to be put in news item must be in the proper order. So symmetry suggests beauty, and it must be self-evident in the construction of the news story. Then asymmetry marks that the beauty and the listeners does not go on with the bulletin smoothly and comfortably, so it must not be jumpy and uneven. So to be more precise and news items, and then the bulletins must be well knitted, well arranged, and well ordered. So some difference between news values and news elements, we have come across different definitions of news, have been successfully drawing some common factors. So the common feature we have drawn out of the different news definition and the news values, there are the values which lead newsworthiness to the common incident, event, statement, or opinion. This is the first stage to evaluate an incident against the yardstick of the news values. Elements, so once it is decided that this particular event deserves to be treated as a news item, the next stage is to open it down for a news bulletin. So now comes forth expertise and the skill needed to write, arrange, and style the event, which has already taken declared as a news item. So this expertise, which a news writer employs while penning down the news story, are called news elements. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the lecture. So till next lecture, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz. Bye-bye.